Hello YouTubes, hello Buru. Welcome to Weggies Presents. I'm Weggies and today we'll be presenting to you a shit edit tutorial. I wanted to hop on the bandwagon of all the video and tutorials that people have been putting out, so I'm going to show you my version, the Chernobyl version. We'll be destroying some beautiful artwork by Fluffsplosion here. I will put a link to all of Fluffsplosion's work in the description below. You'll be able to just click on it, click on images upload, and you'll be able to see all of the beautiful work put up. Instead of inserting Chernobyl into the image, we'll just be pulling everything from the image out, the microphone, the stand, the rose petals, etc., as the placement just didn't work for putting Chernobyl into the image. We're just going to be using paint, just basic MS Paint, and most of it will be using the freeform selection tool. Make sure you post as transparent so you don't get the white box around there for all the part that you cut out. So we'll get this mic and we'll put it in Chernobyl's hand so that he can do some singing. After that, we'll come in and clean up the extras. Since this is just a white background, you can be quite sloppy with all the stuff that you add into the image. It's a lot easier to be sloppy with the cut and paste and easier to clean up rather than be perfect on the copy part where you select it all. Now when you have colored backgrounds, especially when it's multiple colors like the pool of ooze below Chernobyl, you can't just put one solid color because that does stand out and looks like shit. So you'll have to just like copy paste several different colors into the area to blend it and make it look good. And the same goes for when you're pasting in images around the edges. Making sure that all the colors and backgrounds line up is very important. So here we'll go ahead and grab the music stand next. And also when you're doing artwork, you want to make sure you fill up all the negative space in your image. You don't want to leave a large area empty and have a cluttered mess somewhere else. Now, since the mic is in front of the pony in this picture and the stand off to the side, I already have the mic off to the side, so I can't put it over there too because it would be too busy, and ultimately when you put the light on there, it would be cut out. So here we can fill up the negative space behind Chernobyl, and it'll still be in the light when we add the light effect. The next part we're going to be putting in is the wall for the background and the floor beneath Chernobyl, the stage. So when you use the fill tool, if there's even just one open pixel somewhere, it spills through. And you can see I mess it up quite a bit. But I go through and find it. Also, as a stylistic choice, I choose to remove the black line separating the wall and the floor. It's purely your decision if you want outlined and detailed things versus just the color meeting the wall. So as you can see, as I use the fill tool, it doesn't quite fill and match directly up to Chernobyl. So all that white space stands out and looks like crap. So we'll have to come back after and fill all that in manually. Now, all in all that extra little detail work, the first pass is just I do the bulk, the extra stuff, and a final pass I do at the very end of the video. We'll get real close to get the fine detail. Only adds another minute or two to your project. So that brings us to why you're doing this shit edit. Some people shit edit a hug box into abuse and vice versa, or for whatever reason you just add flying dicks everywhere. I choose to do for humor, satire, comedy. I just want to make you smile and laugh. Now, a shit edit doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough so that when people glance at it from the thumbnail or open the picture and see it, everything is conveyed. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to look good. If it's just a bunch of lines and no color and it looks like crap, they're not going to be able to enjoy the artwork or the humor. They're just going to say, boy, that looks like shit. So taking the extra time to fill in and put a little extra detail really makes the image. Because if you think about the original image, Fluffsplosion didn't just draw some lines on the paper and leave it. A lot of work, detail, and emotion and effort went into it. And we want to honor that because this is not for to be insulting. This is praise. So the next part here is to figure out how to get the light in there. And I originally started trying with a triangle. Triangle doesn't work because the light isn't flat on the bottom. It's coming down into more of a cone shape. So I'll eventually just merge an oval with some lines to get the desired effect. So you see there the positioning. It actually works out perfect with the music stand and mic on the different sides of Chernobyl. So we go through, and then it's back to clean up and get that extra out of there so we can have the light shining down on Chernobyl from above him. And the rest of that stuff is going to be put into darkness. So it doesn't really matter what's out there. And same goes for when you're doing your copy paste is eventually, you know, certain parts of it are going to be covered up by other images, other fluffies. So sometimes what's on a specific area of your image might not matter because it's going to be covered up by something else. So here we just go back and clean up the image so that everything's just black in the background. Now you also have very hard lines. They're very straight, they're very rigid, very obvious, and you're also going from a very, very dark color to very light colors instantly. And if you look at the original, everything's very blurred, very smooth, gradual transitions to give the effect that it's more realistic rather than just done in paint. So I can't do that, but what I can do is take a brush tool that looks a little smudgy and go along the edges. That replaces the hard line with a smudgy, not so perfect line. So that softens the edges of the borders, but what it doesn't do is do anything about the colors. So what we'll have to do is come along with a smudge brush and use a lighter color. So we just go into edit, pull it up a few shades, not too much because you don't want it to be obvious and stand out. You just want to lighten it up a little bit. So we've got to make sure we don't get any on the blue, so we'll have to redo that part. But eventually I get my hand steady enough to actually put it on the black. So at first it might not look like much, but when you look at the finished product, you can actually see where the image gets a little bit lighter right before the edge. And we'll do the same on the inside, but with those colors. So we'll use a little bit darker shade of blue and tan for the different areas so that you actually have 4 steps. You have black, then you go to a lighter gray, then to like a darker blue, and then to the light blue. That gives you that very gradual transition, even in paint, without any special tools and smoothing tools and blur tools. So then we'll come back up here and we'll do the light. And we'll just use that same smudge tool to have a blurry effect for the light, and then we'll blend that into the blue by using a lighter shade of the blue, so that it gives that gradual effect. The MS Paint way of smoothing. So then we'll also have to be doing all the petals, all the flower petals from the other image. I'm just going to copy one and then go ahead and cut to the final product, so you don't need to see me just copy paste 20 petals or however many there are over and over again. We'll just skip ahead to the final product, and I do a little bit of smoothing. Now it only takes an extra minute to do that little detail work to get rid of all that extra white from the image that's around Chernobyl or any other objects that you put in. Everything needs to look good. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to look good. If you don't put any effort into your image, it's going to look like crap. So as much effort and emotion and everything that goes into the original artwork, you need to honor that and put some actual effort into the final product. As you can see, I went around, touched all the edges so that it's blue. There is a little bit of white. It's not perfect, but it's good enough so that when you look at the image, your attention isn't brought to the mistakes. You don't immediately sit there and go, "Oh, look how shitty that is." Oh, you just look at the image and you're like, oh, that's cool, you laugh at the humor and you move on. People don't scrutinize shit edits. They don't sit there and expect a masterpiece. It's just, it's a shit edit. It's done for humor or whatever other reason that people choose to do them for. So take the extra time. Make sure you put in the extra little details, and you'll be happy with your results. And people will view it and be happy. So we just want to take the time to thank Fluffsplosion for letting me destroy their work. And I hope all you Chernobyl fans out there can enjoy yet another Chernobyl image. And as always, thanks for watching.